All right, all right. Okay, everyone, welcome to the third episode of The Roar inside CSUSM Athletics. My name is Morod Shah. I'm the Associate Director of Athletics for Facilities and Operations in Athletics. You know, give me a little raise the roof. We're switching things up a little bit, and we're interviewing the ones that do the interviews normally. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it to my co-host, and she can introduce herself, and we can get this thing started.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Mo. As he mentioned, we did decide to switch things up a little bit to give Mindy and Tyler the spotlight because they are always behind the scenes. My name is Krissty Andaur. I'm the Assistant AD for Communications for our Athletics department, and I'm so excited to hear from these two masterminds. As I mentioned, they're usually behind the scenes, and a lot of people don't ever really get to hear from them. So I'm going to toss it back to Mo, and let's get this thing started.
They're the MVPs that are in the background that, you know, make it go. So, yeah, so that being said, without further ado, Tyler, Mindy, go ahead and introduce yourselves. Give us, let us know how long you've been here at CSUSM, and then give us a fun fact about you.
Ooh. You want to take it, Tyler, first?
I mean, the only one that comes to mind is, Tyler Morrison. I've been here 2 years and 4 months now. Fun fact about myself, I guess it'd be like I'm from Tennessee. Like everybody just assumes like you're from California if you work at a California school or something like that. And they're always
not us.
Yeah, I mean, they're always curious about like, where you came from and all that stuff. So yeah, that's probably my fun fact.
Cool.
My name is Mindy Mills. I am in my 7th year at Cal State San Marcos. Fun fact, I'm from Indiana, but I'm a diehard Chicago Cubs fan. So because we don't have a major league team in Indiana, so I kind of picked up the Cubs at a very young age. So yeah.
Nice. Well, I think we need to address the elephant in the room because I know when I first started at Cal State San Marcos, it was my first experience in college athletics. And I was like, what the heck is sports information? So for everyone that's not in your world, whoever wants to take it, please explain what the heck is sports information and what you guys do.
Well, it's changed a lot. Back in the 80s and early 90s, it was all about writing releases, running the games, and sending out the stats to the other teams. But it has changed so much in the last probably 15 years, Tyler. It's all about social media and interviews and the internet and getting our student athletes voices and stuff. And I love that about it. And it's just so much more to it now that it's hard for some of the older people doing our jobs to understand that and realize that, yet we're into it and we're so involved in it. And I love that. The biggest thing I love about sports information is probably we do something new every day. And not many people understand that. It's like, I don't work 8 to 5. I don't write press releases every day. I don't write bios every day. It's just something new, graphics, everything. And it just makes the job fun. Go ahead. What about you, Tyler? What do you think else?
Yeah, I mean, in like base, stuff what Mindy said, I would say it varies division to division. I came from a Division I school here, and that's more like just for basketball, for instance. During the games, like I'm usually just doing social media, making sure the media has their stuff, whereas Division II, it's more running the game, doing stats, that kind of thing that you would normally have at a Division I level. It varies. I think it varies department to department, division to division. I just know, even the 7 to 8 years I've been doing this, it has changed a lot. I don't remember social media being as prevalent back when I graduated college as it is now. So yeah, it just seems like there's everything like new and innovative that comes up in the world always trickles through the sports information eventually.
Yeah.
And I would say the new thing that we put our hat on is streaming video. I don't think Tyler did it before he got here, and I did a little bit at other schools, but nothing like we do here. And that's really exciting to be a part of that and learning so much more about that side of the job.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I first got to Cal State San Marcos, it was my first opportunity working in collegiate sports, and um, at the time when I interviewed for the job, there was a sports information director. Shout out to Matt Burston. We miss you, Matt. But I said, sports information. I mean, I'm like, what is that? Do I need like a calculator? Is that is it a class on campus that it's involved with athletics? And then quickly I realized how important and how crucial sports information was to our department. I mean, you guys are basically the face of the franchise. You guys are controlling all sorts of different aspects. Anything that people see publicly, I mean, it's usually coming from you guys. So like I said, the behind the scenes MVPs that don't normally get the spotlight. So we wanted to make sure to give you guys some love today and talk about it, because not only for myself, for our community members, but a lot of student athletes don't know what sports information is, right? They see you guys every day, but they don't know that you guys are sports information. So yeah, very very good stuff. So why don't we talk about a little bit, Tyler, and I'll let you go first, but let's talk about how does one get into sports information? Like how does it go?
So I want to start my senior year of college. That's the time that you started doing internships, finding out what you wanted to do. So my fall semester internship, I went to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. So for my fall internship, I actually started doing equipment. I worked with the football team there, travel, do all that stuff. You're staying up till 5 a.m, trying to get, when you come back from a long road trip, getting all equipment and that kind of thing, put up and all that. So once spring semester rolled around, it was time to find a new internship. And like, I just happened to come across sports information. I was like, what is this? And it was the perfect marriage of technology and sports, which were like two of my favorite things. So, started doing that. It was, the first thing I did was like archiving like tennis stats, because they were the big push at the time was to get everything digital, because it's like stuff piled up in filing cabinets. Working basketball games, softball games, learning how to do statistics. I didn't do much with press releases or social media at the time. Like I said, social media, I don't remember like being like a thing for college athletics. So it's basically like, making sure the live stats were up and that kind of thing. That was the big deal of the day. But yeah, just sports and technology, like that were my two go-tos. And I was like, oh, this is like, I think I can make this work.
Yeah. Awesome. Mindy?
Well, I was a college volleyball player, and after my junior year, I was battling injuries and decided to stop playing, not playing my senior year. And I had an internship I had to do for a journalism class, and sports information director, Mike at IPFW, Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne. Shout out to the Mastodons. Now they go by Purdue, Fort Wayne, but he asked me to do an internship with him, and I said, sure, I would love to try that out. But what's sports information? I didn't even really know much about it as a college athlete at that time, a student athlete. And I learned quickly. I did that semester. And then because I guess they like my work so much, they asked me, what are you going to do after college, after you graduate? And I go, I don't know. I don't really have plans yet. I want to coach. But they said, hey, what if you were to get your master's and we'll pay for it and you can be a sports information grad assistant? And I was just in shock. And I had the best deal. They paid all for it except for student fees, which is about $500. And on top of that, they gave me $500 stipend each month. And I was able to coach high school volleyball, JV, and then assistant for varsity. And I
Ooh, are we?
Mindy's in limbo.
Much and
We're a little frozen. We need where's our sports information people?
I think I caught the end of that, but
okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. That's
okay. Okay. So I ended up doing that for the first year, and then second year I got a new sports information director, And he just let me do so much more. I was doing stats, I was writing press releases, and it was amazing. He treated me like a sports information assistant. And so instead of a grad assistant, and had me on the programs and the media guides. We did those back then. And it was amazing. And I ended up doing that as well as coaching in college for the first 2 years after graduating with my master's.
Yeah.
So, and then I decided to do sports information full time.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I've always said that it takes a special person to be a sports information, because it's like it's a niche, you know, and you got to have passion and love for what you're doing. Otherwise, probably, you know, sports information folks won't last. So we appreciate you guys, and I know it's one of those that you guys are very passionate about. So yeah, appreciate that those stories and sharing those stories for sure.
And you guys, I feel like you do so much. You just scratched the surface, really, of what you do. So what is your favorite part about your job? If you had to pick, Mindy, go ahead and share with us.
I got to go with two. I love working with the student athletes. I love building those relationships and seeing them come in as freshmen and then graduating as seniors, and seeing how much they change and grow and stuff. And in both their sport and then also as human beings. It's just amazing to me. And the second I have to say is the travel. I love traveling with the teams. I've been able to go to Hawaii. I've been able to go to Northern California, all over. And it's neat to build those relationships with those teams, and not just on the court in minutes. It's eating dinners with them and getting to know them so much. It's been a lot of fun building those.
Awesome.
I would definitely say traveling. I've probably been to, you know, most of the states I've been to have been through work. And then the second thing, I was like, we're getting paid to watch sports for free. You know, we're getting to like work the game. You're getting like firsthand knowledge of what's going on. That's always like been like a big thing for me personally. Like, you know, messing with like stat software and that kind of thing. Like, that's the stuff that I enjoy to begin with. So it works out perfectly.
Yeah, and it's definitely, thank you both for sharing. It's just depicted in your work. I mean, like Mo said, you all have a passion for what you do. And I will always say that to be in sports, you better be passionate about it, because it is a part of your life. And it becomes part of that day-to-day life. So you guys truly show that in your work. And that's really cool to hear what you guys like most, which is the same, traveling and the student athlete relationship.
So I'm gonna say two quick fun fact stories that come to mind for both of you guys. So I think when Mindy was hired, I was there when Mindy was hired, and Mindy and myself and our sports information director at the time, Matt Burson, all shared this little office in the Clark Fieldhouse. And so I was able to get a firsthand kind of front seat view of what sports information was. And it was a fun time. And you know, when we talk about the games, which we will a little bit later, but you know, game management and sports information just kind of go hand in hand. So it was so convenient for us to be like, okay, I turn around and just talk to Mindy or talk to Matt or so yeah, that's one story. And then another story I will talk about, which I remember about Tyler, is that he got here. It was kind of a unique situation that he wanted to be out in California, and and we needed a position to be filled, and so we interviewed him, and he comes out and does great, and so he gets the job, and he's coming out, and then I think it's our first soccer match, conference or what have you, and I'm like, all right, Tyler, so you're going to be doing PA and and running the game, and he's like, what?
He's like, skirt. Oh, what?
He's like, you mean we don't have it? I'm like, no, we don't. I mean, this is Division II. Like, you guys got to run the show. He's like, well, I've never done it before. I was like,
perfect.
What? Just do your best and forget the rest. And he stepped up to the plate, and no joke, I was sitting in the corner, and I think I was talking to our AD, Jennifer Milo, and then all of a sudden Tyler comes on the mic, and we're like, who the heck is that guy? That voice. Oh, he was born to be a PA guy, and ever since then you took it and you ran with it, and you've been crushing it. So both of you guys are really great at what you guys do, and so those are two little fun stories that come to mind when we talk about sports information and you two individually. So
I love that, and for everyone that's listening, Tyler has since become our VOG, our voice of God for all of our events. Which we can't wait to get back to, but it's really funny that, he had never done it before. And then he comes on and everyone's like, okay, wait, he sounds awesome.
The trick to it is to try to mute the Southern accent as much as possible.
I love it. Yes. Which, hold on, talking about game days, Mo, I thought you were going to talk about the generator part, but take us through what a day-to-day is in a normal setting. You both obviously oversee different sports. So maybe Tyler, if you want to touch a bit on whatever season you want to talk about, but take us through a day-to-day for people that don't know what it's like.
Yeah, actually also maybe just go day to day kind of leading up to a game, like on a Friday or Saturday, and then take us through separately what a whole game day looks like.
Right. So I'll start with baseball. Starting the day before a game, you're getting rosters all set up. You're getting programs printed. You're getting the opponent's roster files, which is what our SAT program uses. It's every team has their own roster file that the other sports information director creates. Has the whole team on it. They used to send that to you, but with our new stats programs, that's not really a thing anymore. That's what you're doing the day before. You're getting like the game set up and that type of thing ready to go for the next day. Day of, you're getting there 2 to 3 hours before a game. You're getting your camera set up. You're getting your scoreboard set up. You're getting, making sure all your student workers or whoever, making sure that they have what they need to perform their job successfully during the game. And then, it's a script. Oh yeah, I forgot scripting too. You're doing that before the game, making sure that you have the right reads, any like special announcements, that type of thing. And then once the game starts, you're in full game mode. You're paying attention to every pitch. You're looking at all the substitutions. And then you get to the end of the game. Let's say you're right at the end of the game, you're making your closing announcements. You're getting coaches their stats for the game, getting all that printed, packed up, and then you're writing your story for the game for the website and posting to social media, which is another 1 to 2 hours. It's a long day.
Yeah.
Well, Tyler, I know you talked about baseball. We've got to acknowledge that softball and baseball are still using a stat program that would shock many people. They are using a DOS program, and that means like the black with the green writing, and we have to use it on Windows XP. Now, that's not just D2 level. That is D1 level all the way down, and that just shocks people nowadays. But the positive is we are moving to a new program, Genius, which is very exciting. We're using it for soccer, volleyball, and basketball right now, for our sports at least. And it is so much easier to use. We don't have to share rosters like we used to and files and stuff, but it is still a shocker that we are using that program. IT departments on every college campus dread it when we have to talk to them about our PC laptops that need to have Windows XP on it. So yeah. But so since Tyler talked about baseball, I'll talk about our indoor sports, basketball and volleyball. We work as a tag team on those sports, running the games and stuff like that. But volleyball is my sport as well as women's basketball. But we start the day, we have to test all the equipment because we have this fantastic media room in the sports center, which opened in 2016. Before that, we were playing on at junior college, it was our high school. So we were really happy to have that on campus in 2016, and we love it. We're very proud of it. I think it's the best facility in the CCA. Do a little plug there. Yep.
As a facilities guy, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Shameless plug.
Yes. But the media room is fantastic, but it is a lot of equipment. So we're always testing it, making sure everything's working great. And then we have to set up the scores table. Tyler does a great job on plugging all those cords in every time, which I hate doing. So I got to give a shout out to him for taking that on each time. And just making sure everything's good. We have to have the programs done just like outdoor sports. Everything, there's more stuff going on during basketball and volleyball because we have halftime stuff, we have dancers with the dance team and the cheer teams, so we're running that. The script's a little bit more intense with those sports, and we also have a hype video, which is amazing. The communication department does it for us every year, and we are so proud of those every year. So yeah, we turn out the lights and it gets the crowd hyped. I'm really missing out right now, by the way.
Yeah, I'm like, you're totally taking me back to like being inside the sports center, and I'm like,
Oh.
I miss it.
100%. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, as you know, me in charge of facilities and operations and you know, game management, and Fernando's crushing in game management, but my biggest stressful time of every game is making sure someone presses play on the national anthem or on the video on time and it works. I'm literally in that corner and I'm just like, for the sake of all of us, please just work. Please just work. Yeah.
We got to talk about the national anthem though, because I think every SID has the national anthem on their phone just in case something goes wrong. And it is nerve-wracking. And I've got to tell this really short story. I was at Stanford watching a men's volleyball game and it didn't work. The national anthem didn't work. And there's maybe 1,000 people in the stands and everybody's just like, what are they going to do? And somebody plugged in and it was a Jimi Hendrix national anthem that started playing. And I don't know if you know how long that is. It's like 5 minutes long. Oh. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So yes. So
yeah, that awkward silence is one of those you just want to you just press something, please.
And then we look over at our AD's face like, oh gosh, please, it's coming, we promise.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's the thing. That's the thing with you know, technology and AV equipment is that, you know, it's not always to, you know, working to perfection. So, you know, so talk to me about that a little bit, because you guys deal with so much AV equipment, like video cameras to HDMI cables to Cat5 cables to video switchers and all that jargon that it's like a foreign language to me. Talk us through how you're able to learn about how to operate all that stuff. You talk through how you troubleshoot things and how you know how to fix things on the fly in the middle of a game when something goes wrong. And
I'm trying to stat.
Well, I got to give a shout out to our IT guys. Damon and Chuck are just amazing. I have both their cell phones and they help us out so much. But during a game at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, it's on our shoulders. And Tyler and I work together great, trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? Why is this not working? And I would say 85, 90% of the time, we can figure it out because of the training of our IT guys.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think I had a very, you know, similar situation here as to when I was dealing with my old baseball program at the University of Arkansas Little Rock. It was an off-campus baseball field, so I'm having to carry all the equipment over there for games and stuff. You know, getting that stuff set up, and you know, it's just, I guess, you know, you're just having, like Mindy said, you're having to learn how to troubleshoot stuff. Like if you see something once, it's probably going to happen again. So you know how to fix it the next time. And if something new comes up, you just add that basically to the little encyclopedia inside your head. You know how to fix stuff, you know. But yeah, it's just, you know, keeping up with the trends. Like, you know, we'll get, you know, notes from like publishers on how to fix stuff if something comes up too. So that's always helpful.
Yeah. And then sometimes, go ahead, Krissty.
No, I was just going to say they just do such a great job because I have seen it in real time. Mindy's at a softball game, Tyler is at a baseball game, something goes wrong and it's just the teamwork. They have their cell phones, they call IITS, or they just turn around and, you know, Morod's there, Fernando's there, our game management staff is there. So it's really teamwork makes the dream work, for sure in our department. And I see it every day.
And sometimes sometimes everything could be working perfectly. And it's the simplest thing. Like, dang, we forgot to put gas in the generator to make electricity. Because, you know, as you know, those that are watching, you know, I don't know how many know, but, you know, our baseball field, our soccer field, I mean, we don't have any power out there, right? So that's another challenge is running everything off of this little Honda generator that we got, you know, and making it work. And that's, I think, the biggest thing about sports information is that when you hit bumps in the road, you guys find ways to make it work, you know. But one last thing we'll talk about AV stuff is, talk to me about a basketball or volleyball game when the stats program goes haywire and then you have to redo them. What does that look like?
Look at Tyler's face.
At
Well,
10 o'clock at night.
Better start getting, if it's happening during the game, you're getting a piece of paper and pen out and you're telling your caller to start writing. And then you're just re-inputting that stuff later. Yeah, that's probably, I would say that's probably the most stressful thing in game that could happen, is because, you know, the action's moving faster than you can possibly ever catch up to.
And how often does that happen?
Thankfully, not a lot.
yeah.
I mean, nowadays, the programs, like, you know, they're pretty well designed. I guess, you know, volleyball, it's tough because, you know, you're taking a time sport like basketball, which doesn't have a lot of actions in game, you know, stat wise, compared to a volleyball game, which isn't timed, but has a lot of actions in game and multiple touches. Not, you have to record every single touch. Those are probably, you know, the toughest to do. Like baseball, softball, but you can catch up with those very easily. Soccer, you can catch up with easily. But yeah, if something stops during basketball and volleyball, you got a real problem on your hands, and you just got to try to make the most of it the best you can.
I remember I got a short story to say. It was the first year of Genius with the volleyball, and we were hosting the Cougar Classic, our volleyball tournament. And one of our games, I don't think we were playing in the game, but it was against two other schools. And all of a sudden the stats didn't work. And I had to stay in the media room until I think after 12:30 a.m., writing the stats out, making sure that they had them, because the other school is waiting for them. I mean, they want to write their releases and stuff, and I wanted them to have that first thing in the morning so they could get the information out. And it was, we've all experienced that once at least, where you had to do it all manually by watching the video. I mean,
geez, well, this is like taking me down memory lane, the Cougar Classic. We're talking baseball, we're talking softball. Obviously, this year has been a whirlwind, right? A lot of what we do has been, most of what we do, 99.9% of what we do has been shut down. What do you guys miss the most about your day-to-day going into the Clark Fieldhouse, you know, setting up for those games? What do y'all miss the most and look forward to getting back to?
I miss the actual games. You know, it's weird. Like, you know, this time of year, like me and Mindy are normally like right in the thick of it with basketball. And you just like, I've caught myself like multiple times, like even like in September, October, like, wow, I'd be at soccer this weekend, or I'd be writing a recap or something like that. You know, I miss the games. That's probably that's number one on my list.
I would have to say the games, as well as the interaction with you guys, the coworkers, and the student athletes. I mean, it's like you said, Krissty, it's teamwork. I mean, we work so well together, and I miss those relationships and seeing your faces and working so hard to get the job done every day that we have games and stuff. So I miss that a lot.
For sure.
I'll also say, like, you know, it felt like you were in a system where you're like, you know, you're doing the same thing over and over and over, and like you're a well-oiled machine, and then something like this comes along and just, you know, throws a wrench in your plans, and you're just having to try to make the most of it.
And I've been doing this for 15 years now, sports information, and just last weekend with Thanksgiving, I've never had a Thanksgiving where we haven't had basketball games. And it was just so weird. We always had one on Wednesday with usually men's basketball, and then women's basketball played Friday and Saturday at a tournament, or we'd host the tournament, a small little tournament. And not having those games, I mean, I talked to Renee Jimenez about that. I was like, this is just weird, our women's basketball coach. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you bring up a good point that, I think the job is not just our home games for you guys. On weekends, when our teams are on the road up in the Bay Area, that doesn't necessarily mean that you guys have a weekend off. You guys are still sitting in front of a computer on a Saturday night writing a release about a basketball game that you just watched. So that dedication, like I said, the behind the scenes MVPs, those releases that we read on Saturday night or Sunday morning, that has to come from somewhere, and that's coming from you guys. I think acknowledging that and appreciating that part of it, because it's the grind, it's the dirty work that people don't see, that has just become our normal when we were back in person. And that's just what the position is. And so appreciate that. And I know that's something that you guys take pride in, and making sure you guys get those things out. So now that we talked about COVID a little bit, so talk us through now kind of how, from going from, you talked about how the position has changed over the years. You've talked about what you guys do in person. Now that COVID is here, what is your guys' days? What is your guys' roles? How do you guys reinvent yourselves from a sports information side of things? To keep us relevant and to keep us going and moving forward.
Well, I did a lot of work on archiving this summer and this fall. I did a lot of getting pictures and setting up our history books and just cleaning everything up, because we never had a time usually to do that kind of hard work. So I really focused on that, making sure the schedules were all updated on the websites, from even all the way back to our first year in 1999, 2000 for cross country, track and field, and the golfs. And I take a lot of pride in that, because I got to know some of the alumni that way. I reached out to them. I said, hey, do you have any pictures that I can share? Because we don't have any pictures of you. And that was really neat to build those relationships. But also we started a new campaign called Newcomer Spotlight that I think Tyler and I really, really enjoy doing, because we usually get to meet the student athletes when they first come in, but it's a quick interaction. It's like, hi, we need your pictures. Good luck. I need your bios. Okay, let's go onto the field or the court. We are now interviewing them one-on-one, getting to know them. And it's just amazing to really build those relationships so early on and so deep, I would say.
Yeah, like Mindy said, I would say, people are like, oh, what are you doing now that, we don't have sports going on? Like, there's always something to do in sports information, whether it's archive work, fixing stuff on a website, there's always something. And yeah, like Newcomer Spotlight, like I have never met every single player on a soccer team before, or, it's just like, that's a completely new experience. We got, baseball, softball, track and field coming out in the spring, working on those now. And
golf.
And golf.
We gotta remember the golf.
Yeah. And just that's what we're focusing on now, is like, we can't tell the story of a game. Let's tell the story of a student athlete. Because that's something that you normally don't get to see during a season, because there's just too much else, too much other stuff going on.
Sure.
And we're also doing these podcasts, which Tyler and I have never done before, and we're exciting that. I mean, I have to admit, I was a little nervous when it was brought up. I was like, you want me to get on camera and interview people? I mean, that's not my strength, and Tyler's really done a great job with that in the past, but I've never really done much about that. And it's really been amazing to be able to take on that and get outside my comfort zone, I would say.
For the record, you guys are crushing it.
Yeah, for the record. And so we wanted to switch it up and interview you guys. So, and I know that was a little probably nerve-wracking, you not being in charge of the interview.
And we didn't give them the questions.
We didn't give them the questions. Yeah. So hopefully, we're doing a good job. We appreciate you guys. This thing with COVID is obviously unfortunate for all of us going through it, for our department. But I think that we can always find a silver lining. And I think the silver lining here, what I'm hearing from you guys, is that it's provided some opportunity and some time for you guys to take care of some things that we probably never would be able to fully take care of, because we got games and we have, you know, seasons that come up and we're going through it as crazy busy as we are, there's really not that time to get in there and do the fine details of archiving and you know, our record books and so on and so forth. So, and you get to know your student athletes a little bit better, you know, rather than watching them on a field and kind of getting to know them that way, you're physically or virtually having an interview with them and getting to know them. So really, really, really appreciate you guys. You know, I don't have any doubt in my mind, and we say this all the time, we got the best Division II sports information department in the country. And I fully believe that. And you guys are a part of our family, and you guys do a great job representing us. So that being said, I've been wanting to say this for forever, but that's a wrap.
Yeah. That was the corniest thing I've ever heard you say.
I know. Sorry, totally butchered it. It sounded better in my head, but I think you know. Thank you again. This is finalizing the 3rd episode of the Roar inside CSUSM Athletics. Yeah, Krissty. You have anything to say, Krissty?
No, I just want to say thank you everyone for tuning in to episode 3. Like Mo said, thank you for listening to Tyler and Mindy's stories. They are the behind the scenes MVPs, just like we've been saying this whole time. And I really, really appreciate you both. We're the dream team is what we like to call it. This is the communications powwows that we always have. And we figured we would just record it this time and make it the 3rd episode. So I appreciate y'all. I hope everyone has a great rest of your week and happy holidays to everyone.
I do have one more thing to say. Shameless plug. Those who are listening to this and watching this and you go, oh my gosh, that's totally my thing. Like I want to do it. You know,
That's me. No.
Yeah. Mindy, Tyler, walk us through kind of what they can do, you know, once we come back in person. What are some things they can do to kind of get in touch with you guys? You know, if they're interested in pursuing something with sports information, whether it be an internship, volunteer, you know, something for a class, internship class, you know, walk us through kind of that process and how they can get in touch with you guys.
Yeah, just, you know, send me or Mindy an email, tmorrison@csusm.edu or Mindy at mmills@csusm.edu. We'd love to like hear from you. You know, tell us like stuff you're interested in, whether it's, you know, camera stuff, you know, if you think you like to try out stats. Like we've had multiple people come by our office with no prior sports information experience and be able to learn our stats program in like a few weeks. And we just hand it off to them. We trust them with it. And, you know, it's building a resume for yourself. You're getting professional experience in college athletics. And I think that's really important if this is something you want to pursue.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think we've had some success, you know, with students. We've been really fortunate to have some really, really good students, and those that take these experiences working with you guys, working with game management, put it on their resume. And now they're working, you know, for professional sports teams, and they're working, you know, for ESPN type settings. And so very proud of that. It's definitely a great opportunity. So hopefully if this speaks to you, please reach out.
And I will also say we will take all the help that we can get, because, you know, we're doing you know, we have multiple hats on at one time. Sometimes it's good to take one of those hats off.
There you go.
For sure. All right, everyone. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
I got to do a plug on the next podcast. We're going to have the sports medicine group on. So look for that and podcast number 4.
All right.
Woo!
Bye, everyone. Take care. Go Cougars.
Cheers.